first of all, can I just congratulate you on the film, because quite frankly it got the laughs in the right places and it seemed to get a great reaction, which I'm sure is exactly what you want to hear considering the funding. If you would like to just explain that a bit more.
Basically I sold everything I had. Like my grandfather's lake house that he built in the 60s that I inherited a couple of years ago. I couldn't get a loan from the bank, so I had to basically sell that. I had to, well, all the money I had in the bank, all my life savings, I had to invest that, and then I had to take another loan to get, like...
Made yourself penniless to make this film.
Yes.
Dedication. But do you think the payoff for it has been worth it? Are you happy with the film?
Well, I'm happy with the film, and I made my first film, which is the difficult thing. Now that I made a film, I can, next time I want to make a movie and I have a screenplay and I talk to investors, they're like, well, what have you made before? And I'm like, I made this. So it's experience, it's documented experience that I have, and I made a feature film. So, yeah.
I mean, considering it's your first film, I'm actually astounded that it's your first film. I think it's brilliant. Including the cast as well. I mean, how involved were you in the casting process for it? Because the characters were perfectly suited to the people that were playing them.
Well, I did the casting. We didn't have like a casting agent or anything, but the main character Christer I wrote him, and then I find Thomas who plays him, and he was a friend of my script analysis, and I did some adjustments for him because he was written to be a little bit older originally. Sandra was one of the things I found her, and she was just perfect for the part. She even had the same first and last name as the character.
Really?
Yes, like pure coincidence.
Yeah.
It's a common name, but still. And the guy who plays the boyfriend, Stiff, his name is Dylan. He's a friend of mine. And
he was fantastic. I couldn't stop laughing at him.
Yeah,
Perfect.
He's one of those guys. He's really good at what he's doing. He's very funny, and he can be very funny on camera. And he's a friend of mine, and we did like a web TV series a couple of years ago, so I wrote this character for him. Gudrun, who plays the grandmother,
yes,
she was a friend of my mother's. So
did she have acting experience herself, or was
but she's a singer, and
so she's used to being
and she's really interested, and she's got the right kind of I don't know what you call it, maybe charisma, but
the charisma for the character,
and the right dialect as well. So.
Through Phenomenon as part of the festival, obviously it's genre films, sci-fi films, but especially with a lot of the horror or thrillers or psychological thrillers, you do get a lot of gore, you do get, there is that kind of consistency a lot of the time, which is great because it can change and vary. But with this, you certainly used very different devices. You've gone for the psychological thriller, and you've not been scared to make it light-hearted at points as well. I mean, it's quite a sad, depressing, dark story in itself, but why did you feel the device of humour would bring more to the film?
I don't... various reasons. Like the film that kind of made me love horror movies when I was like 10 years old was An American Werewolf in London, and that's got a lot of humor, like not humor but like comic relief in it, and it's a funny movie, but it's not a comedy, it's a horror movie, and it's funny in the way that real life is funny. And I wanted to do something that was like a kitchen sink drama but with a horror element, and I wanted it to feel kind of like the way real life feels. And when you take a step back and you look at real life, it's funny in that very dry sense of, way, I guess.
I mean, with the story itself, have you drawn on many experiences of your own or friends, family, acquaintances?
Oh, yeah. The whole story is basically, a hodgepodge of different things that I've experienced or people around me have experienced as I grew up, and it's about the place where I grew up and the kind of people that live there, and when you're a writer and you make a personal story, you have to kind of do that. You can't tell a story from someone else's perspective, you have to tell it from yourself.
No, I think it comes across in the script. It's it just progressed very naturally. I love the pacing of it as well. You weren't afraid to take your time, build up the characters in the story, and chop in the flashbacks and tell the story that way. I mean, when you were pitching it, for example, or thinking of the idea of the scripting, is that what you had in mind, or did it change in the editing room?
Originally I wanted to do something like Dark Water, the original Japanese by Hideo Nagata, which is a brilliant film. I think it's a masterpiece in the way it's written and put together, like The Godfather Part 2. But I love those sort of stories that have two timelines that move at the same time. You kind of switch between them. Well, the story structure of having it, the nightmares be the way they are, basically come from, originally I wanted to do like Dark Water and have two timelines, kind of like in Godfather Part 2, we have two timelines that take place at the same time and they kind of interact with each other, or like I said, Dark Water. But then I started, thinking about how to do the nightmares, the dream sequences, and I was thinking, well, when you're dreaming, it's not actually the look of a dream that's different when you're dreaming. It's not like when you're watching a movie and it's a dream sequence, or it's like a yellow filter or something, or it's black and white, or it come out of a completely different building. So there are no like rules like that. And I was looking at movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, which plays around a lot with that kind of stuff. And also I like stuff like The Twilight Zone. We were shooting the film, I started putting more ideas together, so we added some during the shoot and then just put it together in post, and it works.
The cuts basically happened as the filming progressed.
That's what happens when you're doing the writing, directing, producing, and everything. It's everything takes a lot longer because you have to do a lot more things. So.
I mean, you mentioned that it took about 2.5 years from the time that you started it to now.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a long time. As you said, it must have been a lot on your shoulders doing pretty much everything and funding the production. But I think that it worked well in a lot of ways, so that you had the timeline. Naturally, you had summer, you had snow. You could kind of see it progressing along with the story.
Well, no, it was shot during we have 1 day in March that we shot the snow, and then we had 2 weeks in May. 1 day in March, 2 weeks in May, and we had 2 weeks in July, and that's it. That's all the shooting. So basically we had a year, almost a year in pre-production when I wrote the screenplay, and I shot a pilot for this, and then we had 8 months maybe in post-production. After that, I've been just trying to put it out to festivals.
How many festivals have you been to so far?
Maybe 15.
15. And what's been the general reaction to it? What have you found?
People love it. It's great. I get great kind of reactions pretty much everywhere, and we got great reviews. We check out, IMDb, our external reviews.
With the characters, is there one that you could say that you're the most proud of, or you like the character arc? Or?
Oh, that's difficult. I kind of liked all of them. I mean, Sandra was one of those. She was the main character for a long time, and then I switched to Christer, her dad. I like both of them in their own flawed way, I guess. And Stiff, the boyfriend, obviously, because you don't really know where you have him.
No, I think his whole journey is the best. I think it is because it's very eye orientated, me, and then by the end of it. Yeah,
it's funny. We had this. We were talking about this. Me and Dylan, who plays him. We had this we're talking about how he's supposed to portray him, you know, and our like internal logic to that character was that he's got Asperger's and nobody's ever told him about it. Like a small case of, but it's just like that's why he's.
Oh yeah, no, I can see.
Yeah, and it's not like he's got a very much of it, but it's like he's kind of socially. You know, he's got problems socially. Yeah. You know.
On the back of this project, have you got anything else in the pipeline that we can look out for?
I hope so, but I can't really talk about it, obviously. But I really hope that I will be able to pay back the loan.
Okay, well, good luck with that,
yeah.
and thanks very much.
Thank you.